A quick example of graphing using a table. So here we're going to graph from the integers -3 to 5. Now these are not always given to you, so the best thing to do is maybe back up a little bit, start at -5 and work your way up until the points go off the graph. But here I'm giving some boundaries to play with. So we'll set up a table. Now one thing that's important about tables is negative signs are very tricky. So we have to be very cautious with them. Also, whenever you're substituting into a variable, the best thing to do is first to leave a little empty space to put all these values into. And that way you can kind of do it mentally for the most part. On this side, we're going to plug in a bunch of the x's, all the integers from -3 to 5. On this side, we're going to find the y values associated with these values that we're going to plug in for x. So we're going to start off with -3. So this first one is going to become negative. Now, order of operations says squares have to come first, so this would be -3 squared. Now this negative here is going to just sit out front, but -3 squared, well, that's 9. So the first one's going to be -9. Here we're going to have a +2 times a -3, that's better known as -6, and then we just have that +3 there. So let's see, that's -15 plus 3, that's -12. Alright, and I'm just going to separate these with lines so we can keep straight which one's which. Some of them might require a little bit more work. Alright, next number up in integers is -2. -2 squared is 4, but that minus sign is still sitting up front, so that's going to become a -4. -2 times 2 is another -4, and then we just have that +3. So that's -8 plus 3, better known as -5. That's an ugly 5. Alright, put a little line in, and then just go to the next one, which would be -1. -1 squared is 1, but you still have that minus out front. We're going to have -1 times 2, which will give you a -2, and +3. And that'll add up to 0. Alright, we're going to continue in this way to finish the table. Now when it becomes positives, we're going to get a positive squared. We're still going to get that minus out front. So let me skip ahead all the way down to the end. So here I've finished the table off. Notice all these front numbers are going to be negative no matter what the number is because of that negative that's sitting out front. Alright, and also notice that this seems to have some kind of pattern going on. We went from -12, -5, and down here if you look, there's a -5 and a -12 again. So it seems symmetrical. Alright, so let's plot these points. This one here has an x-coordinate of -3 and a y-coordinate of -12. The next one is -2, -2, -5, and so forth and so on. And now that we have all our coordinates recognized, it's only necessary to plot them in our graph paper. So -3, -12. Now if we go to -3, that would be 3 to the left. -12 would be 12 down, but my graph paper only goes down 7. So at that point I'm going to consider just off my graph paper, but at least I know where it is. It's someplace down here in this corner. So I'm going to move on to my next coordinate, which is -2, -5. Well, -2 is 2 to the left and 5 down, which would be here. So this would be one coordinate on this graph. Next one would be -1, 0, which is 1 to the left. 0 means you're not going up and down, so that's right on the axis. We'll talk about that one in a second. 0, 3 means you don't go left or right, but you just go up 3. You plot a point. 1, 4 would be the next one, so you go 1 to the right and 4 up. 2, 3 would be 2 to the right and 3 up. 3, 0 would be 3 to the right and then not up and down. And then we have 4, -5, which would be down 5 underneath that 4. And then the next one is 5, -12, so again we know where it is. It's someplace down here in this corner. Now, these are the only coordinates that I have found on this graph, and it seems reasonable just, to connect the dots. But there's a lot of math behind drawing lines between these points, or drawing curves between these points. For now, we're just going to say, safety-wise, that generally the curve is smooth and continuous, and will go through those points in a very nice, orderly fashion. But there are some graphs that are a little crazy between any 2 points, and we have to be a little cautious of those, but that's a little bit later on. And that's it. There's your graph of x equals -3 to x equals 5 of y equals -x² + 2x + 3.